Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, and I will be guiding you on this journey today. This is a reading for Taurus, Sun, Moon, definitely rising, whatever. you know, do what you want. oh, man. Anyway, I'm excited to be doing zodiac readings again. For a while there, my guidance was to focus on the human design profile readings, which kind of freaks me out a little bit because, for one, I'm a Taurus sun. We're not good with change, right? But it did kind of freak me out. It like effectively cut out half of the content that I was putting out, but you know, we go where the energy takes us as long as it feels good, and at the time it did. And while I was gearing up, getting ready to sit down and do this round of readings, a little birdie, a little fluttering came back and said, "It is time." No, not really. It was like, "Why don't you do the zodiac readings again?" I'm like, "Why don't I?" So it does feel good to do that. We're going to take that just because of how it came out that way. But anyway, like I said, I'm excited to be back in that capacity. We have spirals of manifestation. I love that. Spirals to me are about evolution. Have you ever seen that meme or like that saying, "Don't spiral, evolve"? Like if you're looking at the 2D version of a spiral, right, versus like a 3D, or seeing it from the side and it like is spiraling up. Spirals of manifestation. I love it. We'll read more about that once we get your tarot cards out. There's also that new moon happening tonight. Today I'm doing this on the 9th, so we have that Pisces new moon overnight tonight. So that could be a good moon to work with, setting new intentions. What do you want to invite into your life? We have the Ace of Swords in the reverse. I'm like, let me just make sure. I don't shuffle reversals into my tarot decks, but if they come out reverse, we keep them that way. The Knight of Wands. Seven of Swords. I think the Seven of Swords has come out in every reading I've done today. It's a day of the Four of Wands in the reverse. That's kind of interesting, huh? The King of Wands. Ooh, love that progression from the Knight of Wands to the King of Wands. Okay. One more. That's too many. The Page of Pentacles. Okay. And then the Ace. Okay. Dudes. The Ace of Wands at the bottom of the deck. The Six of Wands. The Moon. I'm laughing because the Page of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands came out together at one point, and I was like, I almost took them, but no, we just need one more, right? Boundaries. And then I was literally thinking in my head, they could come out separately if they wanted to, and here they are separately. All right, let me just make sure everything is in frame, and then we'll start talking about your reading. Okay, so let's see what this oracle card is talking about. All right. It says, "The creative, rebellious path of love moves in spirals. It's not linear. Sometimes our mind decides that the way forward is to take clear steps from one point to the next logical point. However, there is a genius within that guide us on an alternative route. If there is an unnecessary pothole or delay in the typical linear path of progression, and the curved loop in the path will be quicker, more fun, and more beautiful, then why not allow yourself to be guided to that path? This can happen through trust and wisdom rather than rigid adherence to what on the surface appears to be logical progression. I feel like that is exactly the Ace of Swords and the Four of Wands in the reverse. Um, you are in the midst of a spiral of manifestation. Something is coming into being, even if you think it is further away than ever before. How amazing it will seem when what you have been dreaming of falls into place. Suddenly, what you have been thinking or of creating will plunk into your reality, seemingly out of nowhere, because it is just around the bend, just out of view, on the spiral of manifestation, and you could not see it coming. In truth, it was coming to you all along. This oracle has a message for you. Sometimes, when we feel the furthest away from what we want, we are actually closer than ever before. Just one turn on the spiral loop of creation can see your manifestation taking root in the world. You must hold true to your faith and keep working on your progress. Forget about believing it when you see it. Any old soul or young soul can do that. You are bigger, braver. You are a bigger, braver, more ancient soul. You have enough chutzpah to believe it so that you can see it sooner, bigger, and brighter. Do not give in to those who tell you it should have happened already or that you have failed. They are just suffering from a lack of patience and understanding, as well as an arrogant assumption that their notion of timing is somehow superior to the greater divine timing at play in life. Be in goodwill with yourself and the universe. All is unfolding perfectly, whether you feel it right now or not. I feel like the rest of that was just kind of like reiterating those points. Yeah, I mean, this is like, there's a spiral here. There's like, all of this action here in the middle. There's this gear looking thing right here. There's these ruins. And then there's this figure who is the proverbial us, right? You, me, whoever. That's like right in the middle of it. So we start with the Ace of Swords in the reverse. Now, upright, swords have to do with our thoughts, ideas, our beliefs, how we communicate those things. It's also divine truth, honesty. I see swords as being the suit of ego because that's generally where we hear our ego is in our minds. And that's created by the stories that we attach to experiences, people, circumstances. And it becomes a reason why we do and don't do things, our identity, personality, temperament, right? So aces are new beginnings. It's something new. However, it's so interesting in this deck. It's like, this tree it's not new, right? Like that tree has been growing for some time. Even the imagery of this person is not like a young person. So to me, I keep getting this feeling with the aces in this deck that you're not like starting from scratch. This isn't a brand new thing. It could be, there's this established tree here, there's a house, there's these two figures here, there's another person there. So, there's these things that are already established in our minds. So it could be, of course, the beliefs that we already have established, the stories, our egos that are already established, our way of communicating that is already established. So with it being an ace, there's the energy is available for a new perspective, a new outlook, a new mindset, seeing things from a different perspective. It could be a new truth being discovered about these things. So in the reverse though, it's almost like You don't need any new ideas. Like the solution isn't a new idea. It's almost even like working with what you've got. I mean, of course, so upright, it would be this new inspiration dropping in, this new idea, this new truth. So in the reverse, there could be some uncertainty. Maybe you're not even sure what you want, or like what you want to do, what you want to focus on, even. It could even be, of course, too, like needing to get clear on a certain idea. I feel like, going into the indecisive route would be the Two of Swords, which we don't have out here on the table. So, it might just be sitting in the energy of really getting clear again on what you want to focus on, what is true for you, what you even want to manifest also. And it's paired with the Four of Wands in the reverse. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the Ace of Swords in reverse, like it threw me kind of a little for a loop, in the sense of it was like I couldn't even mentally get clear on what I wanted to say about it. So again, I mean, like that could be just the energy that you find yourself in. You're like, I don't really know. Or which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, why does there have to be something new? I don't know. Like, because there could be things in your current life that deserve your focus, instead of trying to create something new, or focus on something new. Because, and I keep saying new because it's an ace. It is a new something. Interesting. So we have the Four of Wands. Wands have to do with action, the motivation behind the actions that we take, creativity, passion. How are we communicating those things? What actions are we taking towards those things? I also see Wands as being the card of information, because that's what we get by trying things. We figure out what works, what doesn't work, what do we like, what don't we like, what stays, what goes, right? And for me, I believe that the only way to figure those things out is by trying them. Because, I mean, we can get stuck in our thoughts, and believe that we can think our way through something, like, no, I already know how that's going to go, because, you know, I I can think it in my head. I feel like I already know. Well, no. I will say 9 times out of 10. Again, how many times have I used that twice already? Um, Maybe it's not nine. Well, it's a lot, like more often than not, the way that something ends up turning out is not how I thought it was going to. Sure, sometimes there are things that are like, I knew it was going to go that way. Well, the only way that I actually knew, the only way that I could actually use that phrase is because something was in action. There was action taken on a thing. And I'm like, see? But more often not, though, I feel like how I thought something was going to go did not end up being the way that it turned out. And if anything, it allowed me to, again, what did I like about it? If I didn't like something about it, it allowed me to, pivot, tweak it a little bit, stop doing it altogether if I didn't like it, right? So that's by taking action. And this card for me, specifically this card in this deck, feels like a rite of passage. There's usually some sort of, like arc or something in the Four of Wands, because obviously there's four wands. Some people say, it's like 1111, which again, new beginnings. But the Four of Wands specifically speaks of celebration. It's reaching a point of success. Like the actions that you've taken thus far have gotten you to a point of a stable foundation, security, where you're celebrating that success. But this card specifically, again, like I said, it feels like this rite of passage. There's this birthday cake looking situation going on. There's at least 15 or 16 candles on that cake. I counted 15 or 16 candles on that cake. And there's usually, parties, like culturally, like your sweet 16, your bat mitzvah, your quinceañera, or whatever, right? Like there's usually celebrations set up that are you're moving from one aspect of your life, childhood, into the next, young adulthood. And it is a rite of passage, right? And also those things happen at certain points in our lives. But also, so the 5 of Wands comes after the 4 of Wands, obviously, right? So this is also even like a send off, because the 5 of Wands is like conflict, competition, it's conditioning too. It's like, you know, climbing the corporate ladder. It's, now you're no longer a child, quote unquote, regardless of what age you are. We're not necessarily, I'm just giving an example, but now you're in the real world and you're seeing, how things work in the real world. So there's this send off. The 5 of Wands is that conditioning, that, kind of having to go through those trials and tribulations. And then the 6 of Wands is success. The 5 of Wands is meant to set you up for success. It's success after battle or conflict. So, all that being said, it came out in the reverse, which to me would speak to insecurity. If the upright is, talking about security, having a firm foundation, maybe it's just even this overall kind of meh feeling. Just not necessarily being satisfied with the outcome. Feeling uninspired. Like just that overall kind of vibe with the first 2 cards. Which could also, even put you in a place of, I don't even know what to manifest, because maybe, like you haven't really felt like your manifestations have manifested. Or, maybe they haven't manifested in the way that you expected or that you wanted them to. Which is interesting, because then we move on to the Knight of Wands. And this Knight of Wands, they're holding this little fire nymph. I keep calling it a nymph. I'm not even sure if that's the right term for it, but I'm just rolling with it because I can't think of another term for it. But that would represent your passion, your creativity, your desires, what you want to even bring into creation, like what you want to create, right? And they have it in their hand. The knights are the ones that are out there taking those actions. They're on the front lines, they're in the battlefield or whatever, right? So they're the ones that have the training, they have even the bravery, the courage, the desire, because the Knight of Wands will get bored easily. They're looking for adventure. And this figure is focused on this thing. It's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And this person back here, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but yeah, maybe you can. But back here, there's this circle of rocks. And it feels like to me that this person is signifying, or it's like they've found the perfect place to house this fire. Because what would you do with a fire? You would make a campfire, right? Especially if you're in the woods, right? And especially too, like, to keep it going, to keep it alive, you would want to set your wands on fire. So this figure back here, they're kind of like, hey, look, there's this circle of rocks. This would be a safe place to contain a fire, to build a fire. We want to think of, what's his name? Not Yogi Bear, but who's the like the ranger bear guy that's like, fire danger and all of that, right? I mean, we want to be safe with our fire. So we move on from these two cards that are in the reverse to this Knight of Wands, who is manifesting, who is creating. And even it kind of, the bottom of it looks a little bit like a spiral, or at least a curve, and the book was talking about not taking the rigid, like logical path, but allowing for curves to get you to from point A to point B. It's not linear, right? And it was talking about the playful element. And, again, the Knight of Wands is looking for an adventure. It's looking for fun. So it could even be the problem, quote unquote, that or the thing that's been missing in the Ace of Swords and the Four of Wands in the reverse is the sense of fun or the sense of creativity. Like instead of doing something because it's logical, you do something because it's creative, because it is playful, because it's fun. Because really, I mean, like, isn't that what you would want to spend your time doing versus something rigid and like, you know, but just having a little bit more freedom to move around, to, get creative. And it's interesting. So we have this progression from the Knight of Wands right to the King of Wands. This is that campfire that I was just talking about. Kings are the highest expression of the suit. So there's a mastery that comes with the King of Wands. There's a leadership authority aspect that comes with the King of Wands because they oversee a kingdom, right? So people look to them for guidance and as a role model. This is taking all of your experience that you have mastered and creating this fire. And also, the King of Wands is the entrepreneur of the tarot deck in the sense of, they have to have creative freedom. Being tied down to a linear path is not what the King of Wands is going to find success in. Even, up here, there's the infinity symbol. So, there's this feeling of reproducing or regenerating. There's this like infinite power source, basically. An infinite abundance or availability of, and you contain that, like you're the one that is containing that. You're the one that's creating that. It's your process that even made this possible. And then we have the Seven of Swords. We can see that they're, kind of hiding in this closet, not wanting to be seen. There's this calculating aspect to this because it's like they're waiting for the right opportunity to strike. The Seven of Swords generally talks about manipulation, trickery, betrayal. It is like, slinking in the shadows, just waiting for an opportunity to pounce. In the traditional tarot, there's a figure that's like tiptoeing away from the enemy camp with, holding all these swords. And what they're doing is they're handicapping their opponent. Because when they go to battle, there's going to be at least 7 people that don't have swords. So they're not going to be on the level with, and now the person who stole the swords, they're that much better off with 7 more swords. So it is manipulation, right? But it's also calculated because if that person would have gotten caught stealing those swords, it would have been bad for them. So it's a risk, right? I also, this card for me is like the card of fooling yourself. This is self-sabotage. This is, those, your ego getting a bit too loud, your demons getting a bit too loud. Brene Brown calls them gremlins. This is, all that stuff that tells you to remain small or to remain hidden or to, remain on the sidelines, not shine too bright. But it is time. It's time to come out from the shadows and find this key. The Page of Pentacles to me is like an apprentice. It's the new person on the job or you having a new job. So it's, pages are allowing yourself to be new at something. Pentacles are earth, right? So it's our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it. It's our time. Where are we spending our time? Where are we physically showing up in our lives? It's our physical health and our body. Anything that we place value and worth on, including ourselves, but our possessions, resources. And this figure, they're just finding this key now. They've been on this journey that more than one person is on, right? I mean, we're all on our own journeys to discover what the key to our own existence is, right? So I don't know, are these two people traveling together or are they just on the same path in some capacity? But the point I feel like of that is to at least get on that path. Start it. I mean, this could be starting a new job. It could be, discovering a new career. It could even just be figuring out what it is that you even want to make money doing, what you want to spend your money on. It could even be going back to school or, even like taking an online course or something that you are interested in, but it's for your own self-development. It's investing in yourself. But also even, just the difference, it's getting out. I mean, that could be physically getting out of your house because I know us Tauruses, we're like, we like being home. It could be focusing on your health because Taurus is ruled by the mouth, which is why they always associate food with effing Taurus, which part of me, I'm like, that's really annoying. The other part of me generally shows my appreciation and I give gifts in food. So I'm like, okay. I actually had lunch before I did your reading. Like I'm like, no, I need to eat. So, like I said, I'm a Taurus sun. But again, right, this feeling of, discovering what this key is. And then, I know we don't have any of the other court cards on the table for Pentacles, but the Knight of Pentacles is in the process of still being on that journey. The Knight of Pentacles is a little slower moving, but it's this commitment to discovering what that key fits into. So you found the key, now what does it go to? Right? What lock does it belong to? The Knight of Pentacles is on that journey. The Queen of Pentacles finds, in this deck specifically, the Queen of Pentacles finds where that key fits into, and the King of Pentacles is the success that comes from finding that thing. But you have to be taking action with these two wands cards. You have to be out there, getting out of your head and getting out into the physical world in order to discover these things. We have the Ace of Wands. There's this Phoenix here, this rebirth aspect. The Ace of Wands is like that spark. It's that brand new desire, having a passion for something, finding a passion for something, being inspired. Again, even the creativity and the passion aspect. I love that. The Six of Wands. Exactly. Being recognized. This is success, victory. So going from this ace of, whatever this ace of wands is going to get you here to this point of recognition, success, victory, acknowledgement, right? For your actions. It's like being recognized for your performance. And then we have the moon card. And for me, like, wherever the moon card shows up, it's like, you know, beyond what we've already talked about is not important. It's like, figure this stuff out first and the rest will unfold. But the moon card is about the unconscious. It's about, not having all of the information yet. Like, things will reveal themselves as you are working through this process. Like, I mean, there's no doubt you're going to discover things about yourself, good, bad, otherwise, that are only going to help you if you allow them, right? They're only going to help you get closer to where you want to be, what you are manifesting. And I absolutely love that for you. Thanks for taking me on this journey, Taurus. I appreciate it. And I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.